It is 10:45 p.m. I am here at my office. I'm going to be here all night long trying to finish cleanup work, bookkeeping cleanup work, so that I can get ahead for tomorrow because I've got to submit a proposal. Someone requested a proposal. I've got to make time to do that, which means I'm working very long hours tonight. This video is about the downsides of running your own bookkeeping business in the way that I'm doing it here. And I'm going to talk about two major downsides, and then I'll talk about two good things as well that I experienced today, just to balance that out a little bit, because I don't want it to be all doom and gloom, and I don't really want to discourage anyone from starting a bookkeeping business. I love my life, just to get that out of the way. I love my business. I live for it. And I don't know if it's always going to be like this. I hope that I can get beyond having to work crazy hours like this, but at the moment, this is what's up. So I'm going to be real with you. Downside number one to starting and running your own bookkeeping business. You may need to work very long hours. There's different ways to run a business, okay? If you're smarter than me, maybe you can find a way to where it doesn't take so much of your time. I'm sure that's possible. But at least if you're like me, you're going to work more hours than your friends are working in their careers because you're trying to start the business, build a brand, create marketing, do all the work, satisfy your clients, learn new things, and there's expenses, there's just always problems that are coming up, and opportunities as well that you want to seize. And I believe that I work longer hours than pretty much anyone I know, but also maybe I just don't know the right people. Maybe people that are a lot more successful than me, they might see what I'm doing and be like, Tom, you need to work a lot harder than that. It's possible. So the long hours, it's a thing, but it kind of makes you better, I think. So all of everything I just described is kind of like time related. Working a lot of hours. Man, my voice is starting to go out. Even my throat's getting tired. All right. The other big downside that I experienced today is the stress of the money. Darn it. Somehow the money is just never enough. It feels like when you're bootstrapping a business, you want to grow the business and it's just tough. I can't really explain it except that it feels like when the money comes in, it's already spent somehow. Like the business just takes money. It takes money in platforms, people, rent, electricity, software and tools, insurance, running phones, paying for just all kinds of stuff that's constantly cropping up. And then, of course, you got to take a draw to pay yourself. And it's challenging. Like, I just find it challenging. I feel like there's always a cliff coming and the cliff is there. It's like I'm on a big conveyor belt that is moving towards that cliff. And, because the bills got to be paid. So unlike with a job, you're definitely going to get the money. When you run your own business, sometimes the clients, they can't pay this month or something doesn't come in like you'd expect or whatever. And then you got to go chasing people for the money and it can cause a big problem. You know what I mean? So there's stress like that. These are big problems, big downsides of trying to run your own business, start your own business. It's probably why most businesses fail. Most businesses statistically fail due to cash flow issues. That's why actually bookkeeping can be great because it gives you a budget, right? So it's a service that you can offer to your clients. If you get very good at budgeting and building budgets, maintaining and running budgets, overseeing budgets, it's a service you can offer to your clients and prospects that's very useful. That, along with cash flow management, is kind of like more CFO type services, fractional CFO services, but very, very useful. And I just described why. Now, you would think that because I'm a bookkeeper, I've got it all together, but just any business, when you're doing everything yourself in the beginning, if that's what you do, because I didn't take any kind of loan for this business. I started it myself. So I've talked about money being a challenge. I've talked about time being a challenge. Those are two big downsides, but I want to lighten this up a little bit and give you some pros to balance that out. Pros that I experienced today, they go directly as a counterbalance to what I just described. So the pro number one is also the time. So even though I'm working a lot of hours, actually, I would rather be in my office working for myself than feeling like I'm in jail at somebody else's office. You don't have to feel like you're in jail, but I've talked to somebody else about this recently, and I think it's a pretty apt metaphor. When you go work for somebody else, you're kind of like you're going to be on their grounds when they determine that you're going to be there, and you're going to be there and work for them until you get released for the day. You go home, you fight traffic and go home, until you have to clock back in the morning, until you have to open that little jail cell. Now, not everybody hates their job, but a lot of people hate their jobs. And I bet a lot of people watching this here don't like their jobs. And even if you do like your job and you like your career, it can still feel like that a lot of times, especially like when something's not going right at work. You know what I mean? So anyways, my point is that I would still 100% rather be working long hours at my own office that I love than working in somebody else's office, even if it's less hours. But that might not get done if I was working for somebody else, right? Owning my own bookkeeping business allows me to structure my days, okay? So the other thing, the pro number two, is that whereas money is a problem, it is a stress factor, constantly something I'm concerned about, I'm working late tonight so that I can clear up space tomorrow to focus on a proposal because somebody came in it was last week and wanted a proposal, for bookkeeping services and also registered agent services, which is something I'll talk about later. And today he invited me to his QuickBooks. So now that I can get into his QuickBooks, I can put I can put him through our pricing and proposal builder, and I can give him a quote tomorrow. So what I'm getting at is that even though money is a constant problem, it's also an opportunity like you're never going to have if you don't own your own business. Literally at any moment, someone can walk through that door just like they did today, literally walked through the door and said, I want a proposal. I want to give you money. I know you're good. I trust you. I've seen the things you do, and I want you. I want to give you my money. You think that's going to happen when you work for somebody else? Yeah, you might take it, but you're giving it to the business. Here, when I get it, I'll allocate it as I see fit. I like that a lot. That, again, 100%, I'd rather be in that situation than working for someone else where I'm too many steps away from the money. All right. Wow, that was a long rant, and I've spent a lot more time than I thought on this video. But if this was interesting or helpful to you, then please consider giving the video a like and a thumbs up. I have a school community where I can talk about all this kind of stuff. We did a webinar over the weekend, last weekend. We do them on Saturdays. And we also have office hours on Thursdays where you can get your bookkeeping questions answered. So if you're a bookkeeper looking to start your own firm and you want some guidance and some tools, I have tools and resources that I've developed internally. I'm going to be using my pricing calculator, my proposal generator, and other tools that I made and I offer to my community when I build my proposal for my client tomorrow. I'm going to be talking to my community about this whole flow, how I got the client, and all the details of, how we're going to price it and how we're going to do the sales, how we're going to deliver it, all the tools necessary, et cetera, et cetera. So again, click on the link to join the school community. And if you just need bookkeeping help, then there's a link as well to my firm, Bookkeeping Conroe, where you can hire me for bookkeeping services. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.